Hello, my friends, and welcome to episode 4, I believe, of the Second Age show, where today we have some really interesting things to get into. And of course, as you might have noticed, we did have a break last week, and just for no real reason, just we just thought we'd just have a week off. There isn't any reason why that happened. But anyways, firstly, before we get into it, I'm firstly, as usual, joined by my two co-hosts. Firstly, Kyle. Hello, my friend.
Hey man, great to be here as always with both of you.
Indeed, and hello, Lakitia.
Thanks for having me. Great to be back.
And before we get into the news, I know that my video about the Second Age timeline that's coming out on Tuesday now. This is coming out on a Sunday, but that's been rescheduled due to technical reasons. So yeah, that will be our next Tuesday. It's really one of probably the biggest projects, longest projects I've worked on. So yeah, hope that it's enjoyable for everyone. But I think without further ado, I think we should just get right into it. So we've got a few things to cover today, and the first thing on screen, Lakitia, is this Carl Chapman thing, and it's from his CV, I believe. And what does it say?
That's right. It says that his character's name is actually called Selin, and there are just two directors listed, which is J.A. Bayona and Wayne Chi Yip. And also, the character's name, Selin, that could also just be a code name used for casting purposes or something, like similarly to how Simon Morell's character was called Terwin on his CV as well. So that's nothing is set in stone. We don't know for sure that his character is in fact going to be named Selin.
Mm-hmm. And Carl, even if do you think there is a chance that it could be Selim? Because I know the normal thing is that it really does not sound like a Tolkien name, but at the same time, not every character is going to be named Fingolfin or Thingol. So it's going to be really hard to have all these new characters and have names that sound like Tolkien-esque names. So do you think that if this was a character a show Selin, do you think it would work, or nothing would it be jarring?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that we know, or we've at least accepted the fact that they're going to have to make original characters, and like you said, to pull names from elsewhere is also going to be very difficult. And all the other information there is on the CV, so there's no reason for me to think that it couldn't be, an original character.
Yeah, and I think I'll do a post edit is I'll look at these other productions and movies he's been in and see if the names written on his thing are actually on his CV are actually things he played. That might just mean that Amazon's one's the only anomaly. That could be the case, but it'd be interesting to see if this is actually his name. But if so, what is that? If off the top of your head straight away is an elf name, men name, dwarf, that really dwarf, but
Yeah, it
Guthurim,
doesn't sound dwarven at all.
no.
No.
But which race then?
I don't think this is the final name. It doesn't it I don't know, it doesn't sound very like either
Yeah.
Númenorian or it doesn't sound elven to me. Maybe it could be a Guathurim name, but
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but that's just as off. This is just fun speculation of a hypothetical that his name is Selin. If you want my expert opinion on this, I don't think that this is his final name is going to be Selin in the show, but it there could be a
Yeah, I
chance
agree.
though. There could be a little chance, but I quite doubt it. But yeah, I'll
Yeah,
do
I think
that.
I think without any context at all, it's hard to say. And we might see this character pop up in the show, and it makes total sense and sounds
Yeah.
great. Who knows?
Yeah, Lakitia, do
Yeah.
you remember in Top of the Lake? Was it China Girl Hillary? The name of that show you said you saw him in.
Yeah, it was just top of the lake. I think the China thing was season 2,
Okay,
and I think he was just in season 1. I only watched season 1.
yeah, with Jane
So that's
Campion. Yeah. Okay,
Shane Campion
here's a
directed.
little
Mm.
game. I've got his. You can't see his character name. I don't think on the CV. But do you
No.
remember his character name?
In the show,
Yeah, in the show.
in Top of the Lake.
Yeah.
No, no, I've watched that like a decade ago.
Okay, okay, then yeah, so that's just okay. We'll just get back up onto this. So nothing more we can really take from this. But now moving into the next thing. So yes, I think a concurrent theme you can see throughout the first few shows. There's been a lot of Numenorian stuff, maybe because
Yeah.
Amazon are we know the filming in their Camus Film Studios and other areas, a lot of Numenorian scenes, etc. And I think we've just got more things to get right into. So this is all come in validated, just been checked around from people and sources close to the production of the show. So that's how I'm gonna name this thing. So what is it actually? Well, the first bit is quote there are different guilds in Numenor, like Blacksmith's Guild, Fisherman's Guild, Bread Makers Guild, Builders Guild, and so on. And while having a lot of these guilds, a lot of the extras are part of the guilds, so they will have a guild seal somewhere on their costume, something on the belt, sometimes on the shoulder. So that's the first bit we've got. So do you guys know if this something like this has been mentioned anywhere in Tolkien's writings or mentioned anywhere in the history of Numenor?
I mean, I think you know, certainly he Tolkien alludes to different guilds. Like the Gwaith and Mirdain to me
Mm-hmm.
are certainly a guild of some type. We have blacksmiths, we have stone wrights. In terms of elves and both elves and men, we have shipwrights. And the first thing that really pops out to me, I think, is the Guild of Venturers, and I think Lakitia might
Mhm.
be excited about that. Where Eldarion had started this guild, this shipwright guild, and certainly think it could tie into that.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that sounds really exciting. I mean, what we know from the Guild of Venturers is that it was a guild established by Aldarion. It had its headquarters off the coast of Romena, off the coast of an island. So I think this could be a really interesting little addition to the general world building. I think it adds like a whole nother layer to it. Now, we don't know, of course, whether this insignia could just simply be like a background element with no real significance, and the guilds themselves could just be like a little part of the whole backdrop to the show. But I think it would be really interesting to see if we actually get guild members as maybe not the main protagonists, but like the supporting characters. I think it's really interesting because guild members are typically craftsmen, which could mean that we could get to see lower classes of the Numenorian society as well.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm really
Mm-hmm.
excited about.
And I think reflecting on your last point about it being more lower classes, as we could say again, blacksmiths, fishermen's, bread makers,
Mm,
and just builders guild. And if you remember from a few weeks ago, we had that village set that Numenor that we know now is from Numenorian village set, and if you look at it now, it did seem quite dark and rough. Maybe that could be more of a lower town thing. So
really.
um,
Mm.
do you think there like might be a link between the two, or maybe we are going to be seeing a lot of the lower maybe classes, etc.
I kind of don't think we'll be seeing like a lot of them. I still think our main protagonists are mainly going to be, part of royalty and stuff. But I think it could be really interesting if we do get a little insight into the what the everyday life of lower classes would be as well. And maybe that was just a thought that crossed my mind, but maybe Anthony Crumb's character that we discussed last week, um, like the character that's supposed to be enlisted for the Numenorian army, maybe he could be a member of a guild only to join the army later. So maybe that could be a character um, that could be a part of one of the guilds.
Yeah, that's
What do you
that's
think, Carl?
that's a really interesting way to tie both of those things in together. I think also, like you mentioned, I think having it's really nice to see Amazon is clearly paying attention to small details, and
Mm,
um, to this might be some kind of small look into the culture of Numenor, and we know
exactly.
we know we're gonna get the politics, so
Yeah.
it'll be nice to see the culture of it as well. The people big thing as well.
Absolutely. I think this adds the colors to the general, picture of Numenor.
Yeah.
So the I think the politics and the royalty are like the backbone of the whole society, but then
Mm,
what really gives its flavor, and I think where we could really see some distinction between the Numenorian society and then the I don't know, the Guathurim and the Elven society and possibly the dwarves as well, is in the little people, how what their everyday life looks like. So I think that could be pretty exciting to see. I'm really looking forward to that.
yeah, like you mentioned earlier, it certainly could contribute to a big world, right?
Yeah, exactly. And for me, it's these world building elements that I think Tolkien does really nicely.
Yeah.
So obviously, they're going to have to expand upon what he originally intended. But in this case, given that we know that Tolkien envisioned some guilds for the Númenorian society, I think this is a good choice to,
Indeed.
go with.
Yeah, and I think just to move on to the next part now, it's into more specific details. So respect to whoever's been able to get this for us because it's going really finely into it. This is an eyewitness account, so take from that what you will. It looks like a small golden coin, but with guild insignia. So if you are a blacksmith guild extra, your guild insignia is a hammer and tongs inside a burst of flame, each guild having its own insignia. So I think that's just more details showing just how maybe we might not even see this that much on screen, but I think maybe at the same time it's interesting when they're saying everyone has his own insignias. Is it going to be obvious like you can are we going to be able to categorically see who's in Blacksmith Guild, who's in Fisherman's Guild? But do you think that could be a possibility with these insignia gold things?
Yeah, there could certainly be some prominence to that, but I think there's also a possibility that they just really wanted to flesh out what the society looks like and maybe to help the extras get into character and stuff. But I hope it does have some significance.
hmm Because I think the difference is it like a badge or is it just like a little artifact like you wear on the side? I don't think that's been specified maybe enough, so we're in this 50-50 realm. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think,
I agree.
but if okay, here's an interesting thing. If you had to be in blacksmith guilds, fisherman guilds, bread makers guild, and builders guild, Carl, which one would you be in?
Oh man. Wow, that's phew.
If you had to be an
I think
extra, yeah, which one?
yeah, I think that the blacksmith would be the most
Yeah,
interesting out of those.
yeah, like it here.
Well, I mean, I try to be a member of the Guild of Venturers,
Yeah.
but if that's not an option, then just I think whatever would be perfectly fine with me.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think going back to Eldarion and Rendis, and if that's the
Mm,
time period, and I was thinking with Eldarion and them two that they'll probably merge Numenorian characters together or something, or maybe do
yeah.
something with timelines. Maybe that story interplays with maybe another queen. I don't know how it's possible because like maybe he is like the Eldarion's like the great grandfather of and Calumet and Telperion and so on, but
Mm,
maybe working it out somehow that someone else is maybe if we are seeing this because the Guild of Adventurers was formed around 760 50
yeah.
off the top of my head of the
Something
sec
like that, yeah.
yeah of the second
Mid
age.
700s.
So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see how that plays. Maybe we're down 100 years. Well, not down. We're forward 100 years, and the guilds have already been set up. Because I'm sure the guild adventurers would be
Yeah.
still around after Eldarion's death,
Yeah.
so everything's
Which
already
is
set
a
up.
nice it's a nice nod to the history, I
Mhm,
think,
mhm,
if
mhm.
nothing else, right?
Yeah.
Mm. I know a lot of people expect that maybe Aldarion is going to make an appearance. Maybe they are going to compress the timelines so much that he's actually going to be the ruling Númenorian king during the
Mm,
events of the Forging of the Rings. I don't think that's very
But we
likely
mm,
know
because
now
I
no.
think
it's
there's.
queen now. Or according to
Of course,
speculations.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
Mhm.
But then again, it could also be, Erendis. She was
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
queen as well. But then again,
Mm.
she wasn't in Armenelos that much. So
Mhm. Mhm.
probably it's not her.
It'll be interesting to see how the two, the things we're talking about today and the things we talked about last time tie in together because they certainly do. Like they're related, right? Like there are ways to,
Yeah, you're
through
absolutely right.
flashbacks and stuff like that, the
Mm.
context is certainly there.
Yeah, that's true. But then
Mm-hmm.
it could also be like, but this is pure speculation, of course.
Yeah.
But we could possibly see Aldarion at the beginning of the season or something,
Hmm.
and then later on transfer to Ankalime. But again, I don't think the ruling ruler during the Forging of the Rings is going to be anyone apart from Talterberion or
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tarminastir. So
I'm
Mm-hmm.
on the same page, but it'll be interesting to see, where things start out and how they go.
Yeah, and
yeah,
I,
good point.
I think it's great that just from this little amount of detail, we've been already to be able to move straight to Eldarion and go down 10,
Yeah.
15 minutes. It's just great seeing just maybe gratitude to Tolkien's works that we are able to do that off just these few sentences. But moving on to the last bit here, which is more of a this is a main characters. So this is one of the Numenorian main characters and um one of their costume is going to be. So um well, it's a Numenorian general to start off with, and quote, when the army is marching out of the town square, you will see a currently a currently unnamed Numenorian general wearing his armor. It's a gold chest piece with all the guild seals represented on the armor's face. So this gives more context into maybe all these guilds and all these insignias, etc. But firstly, the army is marching out of the square, and I guess this
Yeah.
is related again back to that Numenorian square that we've been banging on about for a few weeks.
Mm,
What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that like Númenorian general armies that makes me think about Kiriatur. So
mm.
maybe this is the part where Númenor, enters the battle against Sauron. But yeah,
That would be really far in the second
yeah,
age.
that would be that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be very far. I
Mhm.
don't think that's like what the only option. But I know a lot of people speculate that we will indeed see the whole second age during the 5 seasons of this show.
Mm,
So
yeah.
in
Mhm.
that case, maybe that could happen by the end of the first season or something.
But I think just to give context, if you think about it, we've got all these extras having these fine details. Then we have this massive set, as shown earlier, already built with every just how much money's put into that. And now again, we've got this massive army, and you've got this main. We haven't even talked about it yet. So this main Numenorian male general with this gold plated armor or chess piece, in fact, and with all the guild seals represented on it. Is that just a little, maybe a nod, or is it maybe might be something more meaningful? Him having all those guild seals on the armor face. What do you think, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. We know that the Numenorian were, a very proud people, and I think that certainly helps speak to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so too. Maybe they could just show him with all those insignia just to show how very experienced he is or something.
Mm.
Yeah, and I confess to admit something, but I've gone throughout this whole episode without knowing what an insignia is. I'm being honest. I'm trying to search up right now, but just seeing a um
Just like a symbol, right?
yeah symbol. That's all I
Yeah.
was thinking, something
Yeah.
like a badge or a symbol, because
Yeah.
that's what it sounded like.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah.
I think I know it from video games mostly.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, that's a good point too. When I was thinking about all this, I definitely seemed video gamey a little bit.
Ah, here
Yeah,
we go.
it
Yeah.
does indeed.
Yeah.
Mm.
I've got yeah. I'm looking at some insignias now. Yeah. Okay. Okay. It makes a lot more sense now. So okay, that's out of the way. Good. So yeah, just to recap, we have different guilds in Numenor. To some updates. We've got Bread Makers Guild, Builders Guild, Blacksmiths Guild, and they're all going to have these insignias, these symbols on them. We're not sure if this is going to be so prevalent, so you can individually know which guild they're in from their insignias, or just a little nod on the side, so it's not that important. So we're not sure on that yet. But we know a lot of extras are wearing it, and we can presume it is in the Numenorian town. Well, it's actually confirmed that it's in the Numenorian town later on, where quote, when the army general is marching out to the town square, you will see a currently unnamed Numenorian general wearing his armor. It's a gold chest piece with all the guild seals represented on the armor face. So yeah, that's quite a nice nod, anyways, having everything seen together. So I don't think we can really speculate on who that Númenor in general could be. Is he part of the royal family? Is it just separate? Because we know we have Kiriata, etc. And I've forgotten the other one off the top of my head. But yeah, there's a lot to get into. But I think that is pretty much it. Unless any of you have any final thoughts.
Think we've brought up more questions than we've answered.
Yeah.
Very true. There was a lot of speculation again
Yeah.
today.
But anyways, we have some more concrete things next week, as we're going to be looking at some character relationships that we've been able to get a hold of, including one of them being Maxine Baldry. And we've got a really, really interesting, of course, unconfirmed scene from the show, similar to some of that we did in the story leaks episode. So yeah, this one was more of just a common episode. We're coming back, but next week we're going to get into some big things again. So you guys looking forward to that?
Very much so.
Yeah, that'll be super interesting.
Indeed, and I'm just wondering off the top of my head that you can never really say no to that question when someone puts you like that. It's like none of you can like, yes, I'm alright.
Nah, that's alright. Yeah.
I'll remember that for next time.
Yeah, I won't. I won't ask you like that. It just came to my head right off. Yeah.
It's
I
awesome.
wish I didn't have to do this. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, it's terrible. The pain.
Yeah, but firstly, thank you, Kyle.
Thanks so much. It's always great to chat with both of you.
Indeed, and thank you, Lakitia.
Hey, lovely talking to you folks as always.
Indeed, I know that she's probably excited for next week's episode, but
Very much so.
yeah, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. But until the next video, my friends, goodbye.